It is Thursday morning. I can confidently say good morning to you because I know I will have this out in the morning because I got up extra early to make sure that that happens. Want to make sure and just ask, how are you doing? Now, you leave comments below. You can email through the app. I love what I see going on in the app. That's fabulous. You guys are communicating what your needs are, prayer requests, all kinds of things on the app. You know, you can see as you monitor it that people are praying for you, that we are becoming a church, even though we aren't together in one physical location. I wanted to talk this morning about devotions. Um, Devotion, for most Christians, we tend to think of that as quiet time. But the word actually is closely related to the word passion. And as you know, we are just days away from Passion Week, Jesus' final week on planet Earth. So I thought it would be good. This morning, I am going to give a devotional that will grab your heart, and I hope it'll draw you into this amazing story of Jesus' life as he finishes up his ministry here on planet Earth. A few years ago, now maybe more than a few, Sharon and I had the opportunity to go to Israel, and we, one afternoon, were walking down this path in this educational tour that we were on, from the Mount of Olives to the Kidron Valley and looking up towards the city of David, towards Jerusalem. And as I was walking down into that valley, I thought, this is probably close to the path that Jesus and the disciples took on Palm Sunday when they walked into Jerusalem that final time. And I thought about all of those, and I thought about how that Sunday would have looked. Now, we weren't there on a Palm Sunday, but can you just imagine what's going through Jesus' mind as he begins the ascent up the hill towards Jerusalem, towards the city of David? I mean, the path is crowded with people who are just celebrating and excited. There's emotion everywhere. It's Passover. And we're all going to be together in Jerusalem on this day. And Jesus and the disciples are making their way up there. And so I thought it'd be good to look at the triumphal entry as Jesus enters into Jerusalem for the final time. So turn in your Bibles, if you have them, to Luke 19. Unless you're driving, then, continue on and just listen real carefully. Luke 19, verse 41. But as he came closer to Jerusalem and saw the city ahead, he began to weep. As I read Luke 19, that passage, I can't help but imagine Jesus on that road. It's Palm Sunday, as I said. The crowd is filled with emotion. They're celebrating. The roads are packed going into the city of David, into Jerusalem, all over, all 12 of the gates are packed. But Jesus comes into the city in a very different manner. He comes into the city with tears. I can't get that picture out of my head or my heart. Leonard Sweet, who's one of my favorite authors, says this about unexpected tears in his book. Whenever you find tears in your eyes, especially unexpected tears, you would do well to pay the closest attention. They are not only telling you something about the secret of who you are, but more often than not, God is speaking to you through them of the mystery of where you have come from, and is summoning you to where you should go next. Isn't that great? What's causing unexpected tears to come to Jesus? Well, it's a city that's missed its moment. So I ask the question, who has your tears? What has your tears? I think one of the reasons that we have such a difficult time drawing close to God, why there are walls built up on our relationship with God, with others, and even with the world around us, with people that are around us, is that we spend far too much time uh, crying for things that don't matter very much, and far too little time crying and weeping for those things that should matter greatly to us as Christians. 150 years ago, Charles Finney wrote this: sometimes Christians talk about unbelievers so coldly, scolding rather than feeling the compassion that the Son of God has for them. But sometimes brokenness drives Christians to prayer, breaking them down, making them mourn with tender hearts. They weep night and day. Instead of scolding and reproaching, they pray. Then you can expect revival. Revival doesn't happen with everyone else. It happens first with you, one person, and then it spreads to those that are around. This is what was taking place with Jesus when he wept. See, he wept for every broken person in Jerusalem. He wept for people broken by all sorts of sexual sin. He wept for people sucked into greed. He wept for people who didn't love their neighbors. He wept for people, their hearts were filled with bitterness and anger. He wept for people who missed God's dreams for their lives. He wept for you, and he wept for me. So the question before us this morning, and as we approach this sacred time of the year for Christians all over the world, is what do we cry about? Who do we cry for? So this week, I challenge you to walk through your neighborhood, alone, doing social distancing. Okay, you can take one person with you, but keep 6 feet apart and pray for those people. Maybe one of your prayers might be this: oh God, give me tears. There's so much pain and fear and uncertainty in the world right now today. Would you, Lord, tenderly break my heart with the compassion of Christ for my neighbors? And then wait and see what God does. I have to tell you that Palm Sunday is here. Easter is right around the corner. And I really am excited for this time. This is going to be an Easter season like none we've ever celebrated before. But I also know this: God tends to show up in the most surprising and unexpected places and the most surprising and unexpected times, doesn't he? And he does that time and time and time again. So I am looking forward to this time together with you and with God during Easter. God bless you all today. Keep doing what you're doing. Leave your prayer requests and your comments in the app or below. And as I close out everything, it's going to be okay. We will see you soon.